We're back to the Total Education Spotlight Show and the Beach Lifestyle Celebrity segment, and I'm really excited to welcome two-time Olympian pole vaulter Brad Walker. Brad, thanks for calling.
Yeah, appreciate it. Happy to be here and ready to give an interview.
Yeah, and I couldn't imagine ever pole vaulting. I'm 6'10", Brad. I don't know if a 6'10" person, I could just see the coordination that's involved in all these different things. So how did you get involved in the sport?
Well, first off, one of the Olympians in 2012 was actually 6'9", so there may still be hope for you, actually. But he's a thin, kind of a very thin, tall 6'9", and excelled in a few different sports. But it's tough to go when you're that tall. To get some long leverage, you got to move.
Absolutely, I don't think it sounds like it's the sport for me. Okay, go.
I started the sport basically back in 7th and 8th grade. I was just kind of playing around in junior high, and then once I got to high school, I started, working with a coach, and kind of success started happening from there. And that brought me to a career at University of Washington, which I started in 1999 and graduated from the school in 2004. And once I graduated, it was actually an Olympic year. I signed on with Nike as my main shoe sponsor, and that was kind of the beginning of my run, I guess, in the Olympics. I didn't make the team in 2004. In 2008, right after I set the American record, made my first Olympic team, and in Beijing, I had an unsuccessful attempt in Beijing. Fast forward 4 years, made it to London. London, I made it past the prelims, but didn't really do anything in the final. So I'm looking for my third shot in 2016, and really looking forward to getting myself on the podium and hopefully bringing home gold for the U.S.
Well, Brad, I'm becoming a huge, fan of Olympians. I have a lot of Olympian friends. Gold medalist Siobhan Stoddard, she's in track. Gold medalist Jenna Batarmo, and then two-time Olympian from Jamaica, Siobhan Stoddard. So I'm creating all these relationships with different Olympians. I told my business partner, you got to fly me to Rio in 2016, and then if all you guys are there, I'll be pumped up. But I'm going to step you back a bit, Brad. You went through your career, and it's like a snapshot. I want more than that. So who's the first person that says, hey, Brad, why don't you try to pole vault? What other sports were you involved with before that happened?
So actually, it all happened in 7th grade, and what had happened was I was high jumping at the time. My sister was a high jumper, loved the event, and was fairly good at it at an early age, so I was high jumping, and the only other event that really looked more exciting to me in track and field than the high jump was the pole vault. And so one of the coaches, they pulled out all the pole vault kits, and literally it was just, we were like at a track and field meeting. He was like, who wants to try the pole vault? So a bunch of us raised our hands. He didn't really know how to instruct us or have us do anything, but we just did what we thought would be best, and literally cannonballing over, 6 foot bars. I mean, it was very unimpressive. And when people think about the pole vault, they're always, oh, that's scary, but it happens in such a slow learning curve that it's never really that scary. I mean, when you first try to get out there, you're clearing like 6 feet, 7 feet, so it's like you're jumping over a door jamb, like the top of a door. But that was the beginning. I mean, there wasn't anything too crazy or anything like that. It was just the coach asking us who wants to try, and that was kind of how it all started. And so in 7th and 8th grade, I did all right. I ended up jumping, I think, 9.6 the end of my 8th grade year, which put me at second at All League, which was our kind of, end of the year championship. And once I got to high school, I started to have more kind of significant increase in height. 14 foot as a sophomore, and my senior year brought me around to 16 feet. Once you hit that 16-foot mark, you're looking at an opportunity to go to college and jump post high school, and that's kind of what led me to the University of Washington.
And quite interesting thing. What other sports did you like playing, Brad?
I played football as well. So I grew up a little bit over on the East Coast as well, and over on the East Coast, I mean, you could start tackle football league stuff like in 4th grade, even younger. So I started playing football in around 3rd or 4th grade, and that was my first true love. Due to high jump in high school, I actually got a stress fracture in my low back, and what ended up happening was it basically took me out of all the summer football camps, and I wasn't around as much and stuff like that. So going into my senior year, I just wasn't on the same team that I was my junior year, and got frustrated with some of the coaches' decisions on where and how to play me, and so that led me to just look at track and field full time. And looking at my build and my size and all that stuff, I think I landed in the right sport.
Well, absolutely. And let's get you a gold medal in 2016, and then it was a really worthwhile career for you. And, I mean, to say you're an Olympian is a tremendous honor. So going through that process, I think it also was kind of difficult, Brad. You know, you tell people, okay, I used to be a football player, but I'm in the pole vault. So I guess, I don't know all the schools, I guess all track and field schools, high schools have pole vaulting, and I guess middle schools as well, but you just never think of that sport. You know, it's a kind of untold sport. You think about it. I'm thinking about it now when I used to play the video game on like Atari or Apple IIe computer, and when, you know, they had the Olympic Games, and then how difficult it was just to do it that way. No, I think it was Atari. That's dating me, Brad, but I mean, that's something you tell. I'm a pole vaulter. You know, you don't run into a lot of professional pole vaulters, do you? That's not a...
No, you don't. No, you don't. It's one of those kind of sports that, yeah, exactly like you said. I mean, most people, when they ask what you do, you say pole vaulter, and then the next question is, well, what do you do for money? And so it's one of those kind of bad raps that track and field gets, and there's, you know, we could talk all day about why and all that kind of stuff. But let's just say at the end of the day, marketing in track and field is subpar, I guess is the best way to put it. And so people don't really realize that the Olympians compete at, you know, the top level from year to year. Like our career is not just the Olympics. I'm a 5-time world championship medalist. I've won 2 world championships, set the American record in 2008, and so I've kind of built my career from year to year, and the Olympics is a snapshot of that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So when people, you know, and that's a lot of times the confusion and stuff. And so the first thing people think of when you say I pole vault or you know, I'm a track and field athlete, is, well, did you go to the Olympics? Yeah, I went to the Olympics. That's once every 4 years, but this happens for me on a daily basis. I mean, this is my full-time job. My sponsorships pay all my bills, and I get to focus 100% on being a professional athlete. And so that's the kind of disconnect that the public isn't really aware of in track and field in general. Is that the best track and field athletes of the world are full-time athletes, and they make their money through the sport.
And absolutely, and that's something that people are surprised about. First of all, and say you can make money in pole vaulting. Come on now, and you have the Olympics, and that's it. But I've been learning again from being friends with track and field athletes that there's so many events all the time. You're traveling all the time to different events to compete, and sometimes it's just compete with your best score. It's not compete against the other people.
Exactly. Well, yeah. So, I mean, for example, I leave next week for 2 meets over in Iowa, 2 random meets in Iowa. One of them happens to be inside of a mall. It's called the Mall Vault, the Drake Relays Mall Vault, and you can Google that and watch videos and stuff. We'll be inside a mall. There's people on the upper floor balcony, cheering us on. People on the ground. We got music pumping, and it's just a cool little event. Then fast forward, we have a meet on Saturday in Drake at the college there. Then in a couple of weeks, I actually fly to Tokyo, Japan. And then my next meet will actually be in Tokyo, Japan. I'll compete there, come back, and that'll be my last major travel until after Nationals, where we have to, make our bid for the World Championships, which this year's in Moscow. After World Champs, I'll be looking at going over and probably facing out of Nice in France and flying to all the European circuit meets, basically July, August, getting ready for the World Championships at the end of August.
So the World Championships in Moscow are in August, you said?
Correct.
Okay. I was hearing the word Moscow before. I think that'll be an interesting trip. Have you ever been? Have you ever been to Moscow?
I have, actually. I did, yeah. I've been there a couple times. I actually won an indoor World Championship in Moscow. It was one of the more memorable moments in my track and field career. But, I guess I'm going to try to. Yeah, I've been to Russia 2 times. I've been to Ukraine. I've been to a few, Eastern Bloc countries, and it's a different experience. It definitely opens up your eyes to different parts of the world, and you understand a little bit better how the world kind of works in different areas of the world and the people there and all that kind of stuff. So it's a great experience. It's one of the things that has really been an awesome thing the track and field gives me, is the ability to go out into the world and see how the rest of the world lives. I mean, it's something that I probably never would have experienced if track and field wasn't a part of my life.
So tell me a little bit about travel, Brad. Tell me about specific, and I'm training. How do you train for these events? I know you train on track and field, but I'm sure there's nutrition. I know that there's the importance of constantly working out in the gym, not just on the track. So tell us your daily routine training.
Yeah, that's a really good question. A lot of people have the misconception that pole vaulting uses these long, flexible poles, and you're just kind of doing this easy gymnastic move to get upside down. The trick of the pole vault is to move the absolute fastest you can on the runway to move the biggest, thickest pole possible. So you can think about it in terms of energy in equals energy out. You're putting as much energy horizontally as you can loading up into a fiberglass pole, and the more energy you put in for it to shoot you directly upward, you need a stiff pole so that it's not kind of releasing you at an angle that is, not the most efficient angle. And so why I tell you that, or why I think that's important, is because strength and speed are the two major components in the pole vault. And so I actually pole vault once every 5 days on like a rotating schedule. And if you pole vault more than that, your body starts to break down. There's a lot of load. There's a lot of things going from your top arm through your back, shoulders, spine. And if you start jumping more and more, things start to break down pretty quickly. So the rest of the training is geared towards building you up as a better athlete. So we're sprinting all the time. We're throwing, we're doing explosive throws, a lot of Olympic lifting in the weight room, clean snatches, all the kind of heavy explosive lifts, as well as, squats and bench and all the things that people kind of generally used to. But the main thing for us is to be stronger and faster. And so that's kind of how the training builds. And along with that, comes all the factors when we don't get to leave, our job at the track. It's nutrition's a huge, huge part of it. I study nutrition, read nutrition, supplementation, figuring out what kind of fuel my body likes best, and how I train, how I eat going into training sessions, how I eat after training sessions to recover, how I eat going into a meet. And then on top of that, you have sleep, you have rest, recovery, and therapy. And so basically when I get off the phone from you, I'll head straight up north and start getting a lift in. I'll finish the lift and go straight to therapy, get a massage, come back, get a good lunch in to make sure that I'm recovering not only from the training, but also from the therapy that I just got.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's a lot of different information, but I do want to also talk about one of your sponsors, and we'll talk a little bit about that, and love to have you back on the show to tell us specifically next event and how travel, the whole process of the event and the excitement of the event, and teach us a little bit of maybe some strategies of pole vaulting, because I would love to learn how to do it, even though I'm 270 pounds, 6 foot 10 inches tall, but it would be a lot of fun. So tell us a little bit about Sheik's Sleep Ambassador, how you're Sheik's Sleep Ambassador.
Well, first off, yeah, so what ended up happening was, one of the things that a lot of people kind of underrate, whether you're an athlete or whether you're just, working a 9 to 5, is sleep is where everything happens. As we train and we push the envelope and stress our bodies, sleep is where you get the recovery and you restore and you regenerate all your cells and you get the nutrition so that while you sleep you can rebuild and all that kind of stuff. So as an athlete, sleep is really, really important. Not only that, you sleep a third of your life, and so you want to be comfortable as well. So I've been to, several world championships and Olympic events, and every time you go there, especially the Olympics, they're supplying housing and bedding for like 13,000, 15,000 people, coaches and athletes combined. And so as they try to, cut costs as best they can, they end up, skimping in certain areas. And so normally when you go to these meets, you literally are in like the most itchy, awful, starched, rough sheets you can think of, and with pillows that are basically, let's just say they're not good.
Right.
So knowing that going into the 2012 Olympics, I remember just saying, I had to go buy sheets, and a lot of people were buying mattress toppers and all that kind of stuff for their bedding. And I was like, I want the most comfortable bedding I can have, so when I get there, I can get the best sleep that I can and get ready to rock and roll. And that led me to, I had already purchased a pair of sheets. And I don't know, for anybody who hasn't felt sheets yet, I highly recommend going to wherever they sell them, Bed Bath & Beyond, Macy's, stuff like that, and just feel them. Just go feel the material. The material is unlike any other sheet you've ever used, for sure. It's kind of like the most comfortable dry fit shirt you've ever put on, your favorite running shirt, that kind of thing. So it's just really, really comfortable. So when I first saw an ad for them, I went to the store, felt them, I was like, yeah, I want these. It's a no-brainer. And then as I went to the Olympics, I actually got a hold of the company and just said, going to the games, looking for some comfortable sheets. I love your product. And that was the beginning of kind of the sleep ambassadorship, where Sheets came to me and said, we're happy to have you on board. We'd love you to, promote our product. And I'm pumped to be a part of it, because I really think they have something that just a great product.
Well, I'm excited. I was talking to your publicist, and she's saying that we're going to have a regular Chic Sleep ambassador every month, different athletes. So I'll have you back on again, Brad, and we can always promote it. But because I'm always look to have win-wins of athletes on a regular basis to promote their brands and certain things. And if you're working with a charity or things like that, I find, especially people that are fascinating, that I want to learn more about. I have the luxury of 8 to 9 hours of programming a week on my network, and I can interview who I want to interview. I don't have a boss telling me who to not interview or not, and I enjoy it. So I really want to definitely check out that product, and I'll have to contact your publicist as well on that end of things. But yeah, you guys have some great ambassadors, and I think sleep is a very important thing. I don't get enough sometimes, but I know how important it is. So, Brad, where can we find information on you? Our listeners can follow you and learn more about you, especially I follow you all the way to Rio. So let's find out how we can do that.
Heck yeah. Well, I'm on Facebook and Twitter, as I think pretty much everybody else is. My Twitter name is Skywalker TV, and on Facebook it's just Brad Walker. There's a Brad Walker fan page. I try to update those. I'm not Mr. Update, but I definitely, when I have meets and I have results and stuff like that, I like to post them and keep people informed. You can definitely follow me on either of those places. And the track and field circuit basically starts up in about June. I guess March is the beginning of outdoor season, but it really gets going around April, May, all the way through September. So the IAAF.org is a good site to just check out what's going on in the track and field world, and obviously Usain Bolt and all the big names in track and field will be on there as well. And those are some great places. Just follow track and field in general, and then keep everybody up to date on what we got going on.
And also, for information on Chic Sleep, where can we find info on that?
Yeah, I would just go to the Chic's website. There's actually a discount if you type in www.chics.com/Brad, I believe, and I might have to double check that. Is the actual coupon for 20% off. And so if you guys are looking to go ahead and make a purchase, 20% off better than full price at a retail store, that's for sure. So definitely check that out. But I would just recommend people go out and just feel the material, because for me, once I felt the material, I was sold and knew that it was a product that I wanted to use on a regular basis.
Well, Brad, thanks for calling the program. Good luck to you, and I know that I'll be rooting you on all the way to Rio, and like to have you back next month to talk more about the pole vaulting game and you being that pole vaulting expert for us. So thanks again for calling.
I appreciate it. Thanks for your time, and best of luck with everything.
All right, take care, Brad. Okay, see ya. All right, you're listening to Total Education Spotlight Show, Beach Lifestyle Celebrity Segment. We'll be back in just a moment.